What's up, everyone? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, in the house, back with another video today, man. We're going to be breaking down one of the top quarterback prospects in this upcoming NFL draft, and that's Bryce Young. This is part one of a four-part series of other quarterbacks that I'm going to be looking at and reviewing their film and kind of going over their strengths and weaknesses. But before I get into this video, man, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel at Clutch Sports Talk on YouTube, as well as The Grid, man. You won't be disappointed, right? So a lot to be said about this upcoming draft. And the guy that we want to talk about is Bryce Young, right? And while we're at it, let's take a look at some of his clips here. Um, what can we say about a quarterback from Alabama, right? They're always talented, they're winners. But him particularly, he's a Heisman winner. He's played in a lot of big games for the Crimson Tide. But one thing I like about Bryce Young, which we'll talk about a little bit more in depth later on in this video, is his ability to look down the field, especially when things kind of fall apart, right? You would think, though, with all the protection and the talent that he has at Alabama, that he wouldn't have times where he has to evade pressure. And in this particular throw right here, he gets out of the pocket and he throws a dot. One thing I like about him, he's a willing runner, meaning that he's not looking to take off at first glance. But when he does take off, he's looking down the field. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of Russell Wilson, a smaller Russell Wilson, but he does have the ability to keep his eyes down the field, which we'll talk about with some of his strengths later on again in this video. This play right here, listen, great throw, getting out of the pocket. Receivers got to catch that football. I like this video right here, this clip here. Again, not looking. He probably could have scored that one, but instead he chose to throw to his tight end there. Again, looking down the field. Boom. Has patience. You got to have patience when you're in that position as a quarterback because everything around you is going to be moving at a rapid rate, right? But he's very calm and collective in that pocket, which is one of my favorite things about the guy and his accuracy. Not only is he able to keep his eyes down the field, his accuracy is on an elite level. He can make the throws in the National Football League. That's not going to be an issue with this guy, right? Again, here we have it right here against Tennessee. Waiting, doesn't have it. This one, he kind of got bailed out. Probably should have just thrown that ball away, but nonetheless, this was a really good throw. This is one of the things I think he will have to develop or continue is to his accuracy again is really good. It's actually not this clip. It's probably the clip after this. It's a deep ball. He does have some inconsistencies, but we'll talk about that. But the guy can definitely play the position as a quarterback. Again, he will run the football if he needs to. He's a willing runner, but first and foremost, he wants to throw the ball. He wants to throw the ball. That's how you win in the National Football League. You can't have your quarterback taking excessive amount of hits, and hopefully that'll be one thing that he'll be able to clean up. But again, this last play here against Arkansas, nice deep ball. Receiver had to kind of go out and get it a little bit, but nonetheless, it was something that the receiver was able to complete. So let me get my mug out the way so you guys can see. So check out his weaknesses. Well, actually, we'll start on the strength side, okay? First things first, elite vision from the pocket and on the run. You guys saw that in some of those clips that I had for you guys there. Again, I'm going to keep emphasizing this. He will run the football, but again, he's looking to beat you down the field like any really good quarterback should be doing. He's not a running back. He's not Lamar Jackson, doesn't have that type of speed, but he is mobile enough to get out of a pocket, evade pressure, and get out there and make a play. Strong character and leadership. Listen, the guy he's been playing football. I mean, I've been following him when he was in youth football as an OG Duck out of Riverside, California. Okay, followed him all the way through high school, modern day. I got the privilege to see him play up close and personal. The guy's a leader. He's not like gregarious where he's just, look at me, I'm the leader. But he has a calmness about him. He steps in your locker room day one. He's going to be the de facto leader of your team, which most quarterbacks typically are. But this guy won't have a problem with doing so. Comfortable going through his progressions. This is very important as a quarterback, especially when you go into the National Football League. Your first read may not always be there. Obviously, he played at Alabama. Most of his receivers had the ability to separate. But when he gets to whatever team he's going to, which could be Carolina, it could be Houston, the Colts, who knows, right? Guys are not going to be able to always separate. But he does have a really, really good propensity of looking through his progressions, getting to his third, second progression, and maybe even checking it down to a running back. So that's one thing I really like about him. He's not an elite athlete, but he can evade pressure. Again, he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to just outrun you. He can slide in the pocket. We saw that in those clips that I just showed you guys. Um, he's able to do that, maneuver around in and out of the pocket, which is very important as a quarterback. Again, your quarterback needs to beat teams from the pocket. He just does. I mean, so at least I'm old school when it comes to that fact, but he can definitely do that. He has adequate arm talent, and it's good enough for the NFL. I mean, we've seen in history that you have guys that necessarily don't have howitzers for arms or cannons for arms. Tom Brady is one that comes to mind, but he has a good enough arm, and actually, he has a sneaky arm. There were some clips here that I showed you where he was able to fire that ball down the field, but he's not gonna just overwhelm you with like arm talent like a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes. But he's definitely adequate enough for the National Football League for sure. All right, we talked about the good. There is some bad when it comes to Bryce Young. First things first, durability. He concerns due to his small frame. He's not a big guy. He's 5'11", maybe 6 foot on a good day. Um, Not a big dude. 180 pounds, maybe 85 pounds. Last time I checked, you might want to check that, but we'll see. And he takes too many hits, just like one of his former alumni brethren, Tua, who plays for the Miami Dolphins, who's continuing to take big hits. Bryce Young does have that a knack for that. When he should get out of bounds, he doesn't, or maybe he hangs in the pocket a little bit too long, trying to make a play. He does take some unnecessary hits. So you combine that with his small frame. That's kind of a concern for me, especially if I'm looking at it from the eyes of a GM. I'm going to be investing a lot of money into this guy. I'm going to take him with a high draft pick. Can he play? Because guess what? If you can't play, why should I even have you on the team? Okay. Lacks high end physical traits. What I mean by that, when you see him, he's not, he doesn't wow you physically. He's not like Cam Newton when he came out of Auburn many years ago, 6'6, 280 pounds, runs like a 4.4, 4.5. He's quick, but he's not a big guy like that. He's not like other guys in this draft, like a CJ Stroud, you know, well over 6 foot, looks over the line, guys like that. He's not going to wow you with that, right? A lot of what he does is intangibles, and he's pretty safe when it comes to that. And finally, his deep ball is inconsistent. Um, and in the National Football League, one of the biggest stats to me that gets overlooked a lot is offenses that do not have a lot of big plays, right? Now, you have to have big plays in the National Football League of 20 yards or more, splash plays, big plays, whatever you want to call it. You got to be able to throw the ball deep, whether it's to an outside receiver over the top. Can you hit a slot receiver doing a post? Anybody can sit here and nickel and dime you with a 5, 7 yard hook or curl, hit a flat right, whatever. But in some cases, you got to throw that ball deep. And sometimes he can struggle with that just a little bit, just a little bit. So, what I think about this guy overall um, is that he's definitely probably in my mind the top pick in this NFL draft, depending on the type of team, which you can say that about any player in the National Football League. I mean, let's just be real. But Carolina is number one right now. They need a quarterback. There's been talks about them getting the kid from Florida. Maybe Bryce Young is their guy. To me, I would want to see him in a warm weather environment, particularly maybe like a dome, like Indianapolis or even the Texans, where most of those games are played in a warmer weather state. But because of his size, I don't think he can hold up to playing in the cold somewhere. He's not a big guy, doesn't have big hands, things of that nature. But is he definitely overall a top prospect? Absolutely. Um, can he play in the National Football League? Yes, I think he can. It just depends on the system and where he's going to go, and what kind of coaching. It just depends. So, should he go number one? We'll have to wait. I'll have to do one more video when I do everyone together, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on that. But definitely, he's a top prospect for sure. Most people have him as a top-rated quarterback. The only deficiencies is his size, and which is a big deficiency considering the National Football League is full of big, behemoth type of men getting after the quarterback. So and his durability concerns. So, but overall, Bryce Young is definitely a guy that you want on your team from a leadership standpoint. He can play the football. He can play the quarterback position better than anyone in this draft class. So, with that said, I'll leave it there. Be on the lookout for my next video. Probably going to be doing CJ Stroud because there's a lot of fanfare around him. But other than that, man, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure, again, you subscribe to the channel. That's all I got. This is Film Study with me, Clutch Sports Talk. Never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.